So I think that sometimes when we have these conversations, they're so sensitive. Even the conversation about fertility, we know that infertility is a huge issue in our community, and we
Mm-hmm.
only address it in a foolish way when we see somebody at the barbecue and we're like, when y'all gonna have children? You sound like a
Mm-hmm.
fool right now because you don't know what they've been trying, you don't know what they've been going through. That's one of the biggest things we need to do is stay out of people's womb and out of their gonads. But at the same time, we have to stop normalizing abnormality. There has to be something that says, like, for example, you and I both wear glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing glasses is, I mean, it's a form of a disability. Like, let's be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are times when I say to my children, did you see where I put my glasses? Because you need your glasses to find your glasses.
Yep.
Now, what if
It's
we
the
just
spring.
started normalizing? And it's so cute on you, those pearls. That pearl
Thank
string is so
you.
cute. But what if we started normalizing, uh, you know, loss of vision? Then we could get to a point where everyone had vision loss, and the people who were sighted were seen as something is wrong with them. And so we know that none of us is perfect. Everyone has something, whether it be because of hereditary issues, whether it be because of lifestyle, whether it be from lack of information. There may be some things that you have done that may have caused irreparable damage. It may be a community that you were living in that you didn't know that there was something toxic that caused you to get, some other irreversible damage. But I am saying that can we at this point, can we as Black people, can we normalize health? Can we
Mm-hmm.
normalize saying to someone, you know, that's not the best health decision, or that's not the best health food, or the best health activity? And I'm not saying that that gives other people carte blanche to just, be in judgment. Because some people, they just want to talk no matter whatever you're doing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that there has to be some people amongst us who we recognize as experts. We recognize as people who have skin in the game. Why should you trust Flatbush Doulas? Aside from I gave you just my childhood alone, just the fact alone that my introduction to herbs was on a personal level. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Just me being able to tell you about, listen, I can't even tell you some of the bush tea I drank growing up, right? But then for me to say, well, I've grown up with the medical model because, like my mother was a nurse. But, when your mother's a nurse on labor and delivery, she does come home very tired. Oh, I was holding up somebody's leg. She was like really doing what doulas do, right? Because we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about at a time when people still had a choice of, do you want to have quote unquote natural childbirth, right? A medicine free, pain reliever free childbirth. But she
Mm-hmm.
also told the stories of her basically standing in the gap between the pressure that an anesthesiologist might put, not excuse me, not an anesthesiologist, an obstetrician might put
Mm-hmm.
on their patient, and telling them, you don't have to be a martyr. You don't you could take something for this pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that person is gone, and imagine somebody coming back and telling you that 5 different times. And
Mm-hmm.
then imagine my mother standing in the gap and saying, what do you want to do? Do you want to, if you want to have this baby naturally without any intervention, pain medicine, talk to me, breathe with me, hold me. I'm gonna, can you imagine that? So
Mm-hmm.
when you hear those stories, but then you also hear the stories of, a beautiful baby boy died today, or you hear the stories of before the NICUs and before being able to save the 30 weekers and all of that. You hear the stories of, yeah, that the nurse who was told to take the baby to the back and just leave him there. and just wait for him basically to expire because there's nothing that they can do because he came too early and whatever have you. And then the baby just never expiring. You going back and you going back, and then eventually you get it, but you're just following doctor's orders. And so I have that same thing, but then it's when I say that same thing, I mean I have that information, but then now I also have done the work to go and dig up studies. When I did this course, do you think I cared about a study about okra or something else, callaloo, bitter gourd? I did not, because I value my grandmother's wisdom over a study and over a textbook, because her wisdom, may she rest and may her memory be for a blessing. Her wisdom was based on her mother's wisdom and her father's wisdom, and it's going back. So the thing about it is that, you know, they have that saying, 1,000 Frenchmen can't be wrong. And so I'm like, 10,000 Grenadians, 10,000 Africans, 10,000 Hebrews can't be wrong. There's a reason why we did these things. And it's not just because we didn't have access to modern, ways and technology. And so I say that to say, we have got to look at the people in our community. When I talk to Sierra and she has a degree, what is your PhD in?
It's in leadership.
It's in leadership. And you go, it's in leadership. It's in leadership. Like, it's not connected. It the hell is not. It's connected. Because when this woman says to me, this is what I want you to do, okay, for your health this week, and this is what I'm sending you, and you tell me she deals with me like a leader. She deals with me like someone who is grooming a leader. So I have to look to her expertise when it comes to certain things. You understand? Even though I could do it myself. We all know y'all could do it yourself. We all could do it ourselves. But you can't ever trust somebody who was self-made, because in reality, no one is. You're standing on someone else's shoulders. Someone had some type of input in your development, and someone made a sacrifice for you to be where you are today. So you have to put people around you who you trust, people who have some level of expertise, and people who will also be bold enough to tell you when you're going wrong. It's not that you have to beat yourself up about it. And so that's kind of what you look for in your birthing team. That's what you look for in your life team. That's what you look for in so many different areas, because that is how we continue to grow and progress. And, my prayer, if I do one thing in this life, it is for Black women to take off that cape and to stop thinking that you have to be a superwoman and you have to do it all, because you might be able to sustain it for a short amount of time. You might be able to sustain it for years, but it's going to have health impact. It's going to have emotional impact. And eventually the facade is going to fade away, because you're not really happy doing it all. We were never designed to do it all. And I think that because in this environment that we live in right now, where there's this digital divide and everyone is here and there, and even it's a whole pandemic, as they say, right? We've gotten so out of touch with being connected, but it really does take a village, and I'm thankful for my virtual village. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for all the people who join in on the IG lives, who follow my Facebook, who support House of Shiphrah Puah, when I put out courses, because what that's telling me is that I'm not speaking in a vacuum. But I would be lying to y'all if I didn't tell you that it's challenging. It's a challenge because I have my own quote unquote woes. I have my own generational curses that I'm purposing to break. I have my own challenges raising my 2 young children, right? And so we all have what there's the circumstances. But then there comes a time when we have to look at, what about what we grew up with do we want to keep? And what do we say, okay, this has expired now? For some people, it may be you took out of this live that you're not going to put pork in your collard greens anymore. That would be enough for me. For someone else, it may be, you know what, I'm gonna find out how I can get a recipe to make me be able to eat okra. For someone else, it'll be, I will actually start looking at my discharge. I will start being aware. You know, for someone else, it may be, I will come to how should I say? I will allow myself to come to a place where I can grieve my uterus. Some people who have had a hysterectomy, you never grieved your uterus. That's a part of you that is, you know, no longer with you. And so at the same time, it's like someone who's an amputee and gets phantom pains. You know, you feel like the legs are there and they're hurting. You know, things go on when it comes to a hysterectomy that are similar to that. You know, people saying that they still feel that time of the period. You're not actually having any blood loss, but you're having the same type of mood swings and all those things. So it's like realizing that you're not, I know they're trying to make us into androids, y'all, but realizing that we're not robots. These things that happen to us, that happen to our generations, there is a record. You know, I don't know the person who made that quote, the body keeps the score. But, you know, all these things that take place, your body puts it somewhere. And so when we have these political crises that we're experiencing, because this Black maternity mortality crisis is a political crisis. I'm going to be the first to say it. I know that's not me saying it's not real, but it's a political crisis because it's based on the institutionalized racism. It's based on a system. And so when you hear us say, you know, several times throughout the live, we've talked about the things that were promoted to us from white women. This is not us, you know, having a racial attack, but this white woman is just one person in an entire system. And so she might be your friend. She might be, you know, close to you. But it doesn't mean that she's still not benefiting from a system that is causing us harm. And we have to wake up to that reality. You know, you talked about fibroids. It is amazing to me to be able to say that, you know, recently even, a sister that I know and love came to me and asked me some questions about what was going on with her with fibroids, and she was scheduled for a procedure and so on. And I worked with her and I spoke with her and we counseled and we researched and all of that. And it's amazing to me for her to come back. Not that I ever saw anything different, but for her to come back and say, oh, you know what? It shrunk so much that there's no procedure necessary. They said, keep doing whatever it is that I'm doing. So it's possible. We have the miracles that are still there. You know, the shame and the secrecy that we have placed this shroud around reproductive health is not healthy for us. Feminine wellness is about us being able to use our voices to ask for what we need and receive it. So if I could say, you know, one thing, it would be like, just really go inside today and look at what you need. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need as a woman. A lot of times when you ask for what you need, somebody tell you you're complaining. Somebody tell you you're nagging. Someone tells you you're being a bitch. Yes, I said it. That's what, you know, you hear when you as a woman have needs. But if you don't get your needs met, you're not going to be able to meet anyone else's needs. And that's that.